So you've gone through the whole cycle in just a few years here. Tear it down, put it back together again, and now everybody expects you to win a Stanley Cup. So congratulations.
Ah, thanks. Yeah, yeah.
Well done.
Read the papers. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, clearly you have to be optimistic with the way things have developed, and we congratulate you on your role in this. And I know it was a group effort, but this is the first year you really get a chance to kind of feel what you've done. I mean, last year was, I don't think shocking to you, but pleasantly surprising. Now you think you got something.
Well, I think last year what was a little bit shocking to us was, when all these young players came to camp, you have hopes that they're all going to be good, and that we saw a little bit. We brought them all up, if you remember, 2 years ago. They all got little cameos with the Maple Leafs. Then we put them back with the Marlies for the playoffs, and we liked what we saw. But you don't necessarily know whether that's going to translate after another summer. We didn't know how Marner was going to be coming from junior. At the time, we didn't know we were picking first overall. And so you've got all these young players coming in, and you hope they're going to be good. You think they're going to be good, but realistically, you're not thinking you're going to have 8 or 9 rookies that are making big impacts. And they all did. They all came in, and they all lived up to their promise. And it was a fun year for them. So early in training camp, I think internally we started to think, I think a lot of people in the city had thought it was another rebuilding year, but I think that we really did feel like there was a chance these guys might sneak up on some people.
But it really was perfect when you think back to last September, because the Blue Jays were all the rage. Everybody was following them. The World Cup of Hockey was here. Mm-hmm. The Grey Cup was coming. There was so much going on. Austin Matthews wasn't even with your team. He was with the young guns at the World Cup. So it really, I think, at the time kind of allowed you to have a camp while your coach wasn't even with you for most of it, and sort of go under the radar a bit, which is very much different, I think, it's going to be this fall.
Yeah, and you know what, though? If you're in this business to become a good team, or you're in sports, you should be in the business to become a good team. At a certain point, you're going to have pressure and expectations. And I think when you look at some of the players that we have in this organization, it's not like pressure and expectations are suddenly something where they're going to say, oh, wow, what is this? And
right.
They also, it seemed to me, are recognizing early in their careers, even though they're young players, that the more they lean on each other and the more they come at you as a pack, the safer they'll all be. Whether it's success or failure, you do it as a team. And that's something that I give a lot of credit to Mike Babcock and to Lou Lamoriello for sort of just instilling that culture in them.
Like, are you thinking like in terms of the media, or do you think the public in general, the city, or just that everything that comes with Toronto?
I'll be honest with you, I think that these players enjoy it. I think that they've come in here and sort of ignored things that were maybe said in the past, and they don't want to play anywhere else, it appears to me. They like it here. They like what they've built as a reputation. They like the relationship that they've built with their fans. They enjoy how their fans see them. And I think that they're having fun with it. Even the players that were here in some of the more difficult years, in talking to some of them, they can feel the change that's occurred. And this can be a fun city to play in. And there are a lot of players. I said this before. We had all these new players here. Some players don't want to play in an environment like this, and that's fine. They can go play somewhere else and have a lot of success. But there are a lot of players that do want to play in a market where the games mean a lot to the city.
With Brendan Shanahan, the Leafs president. So I grew up in an era where the phrase "the sophomore slump" was ever present. It didn't just relate to hockey. In fact, it related to all sports. As a former player, did you go through a sophomore slump? Did you find year 2 tougher?
No, I was so bad my first year I couldn't have gotten worse. My second year, so there were no expectations.
Do you believe in the theory of the sophomore slump?
I guess I don't know. Like I guess the way I'm answering it, not really. And I think that one thing that we've talked about, and we talked about at the end of last season, and you've heard some of our players say it, is we're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. But to see the work that they put in, and again, I'll go back to the leadership that they have with their general manager and their coach right now, preparing them even at the end of last season that this year would be much tougher, and that if we're going to keep taking steps, that nobody could really go back this summer and just spend time listening to how happy everybody is that they had to put the work in. And we're very confident that our players did put the work in.